The skirt is brought to you by Archive, your favorite place to shop secondhand and vintage designer accessories. With hundreds of listings to choose from, you can score that dream designer bag you've been eyeing. Your wallet and the planet will thank you for it.
You have a hair by your eye. Yep. No. It's like right there. There you go. Ask yourself up. You too. Okay. You too. Cheers to the skirt. Cheers to the skirt, babe. All right. Welcome to the skirt. Hello. I'm Kinsley. I'm Sam. We got to go again. Okay. I might put that in there. Welcome to the skirt. I'm Kinsley. I'm Sam. And this is our very first episode. My God. I know this is crazy. We've been anticipating this for quite some time. We've been planning. We've been brainstorming. The day has come. I know. Obviously, if you know us or if you don't know us, we have to caveat, we don't know what we're doing. This is an experiment. You are along for the ride. This is day one. It can only go up from here. I have no idea what to expect. I know you don't know what to expect. We're just having fun. We're going to figure it out. Yeah. It'll be fun. And honestly, it doesn't matter because the whole point, nothing matters. Okay, that's true. Yeah. No, I know. I mean, a few things matter. Sure. Love. Okay. Kindness, your personal peace and joy. Yeah. Those things matter. Your creative expression, which is sort of the whole purpose of us being here, right? We wanted to put ourselves out there and try something new. And we want to talk about things we love. And this is going to make our job fun. My goal for it is to really open myself up to creative conversations. I think I'll enjoy that a lot. I think this is mostly for us. And if any of you out there listening also enjoy it, that is an added bonus. So it'd be great. Ultimately, you and I are going to come here every other week. We're going to sit down. If anyone who is listening needs a break from the hard parts of being on the internet, which I think we know all too well, especially in this moment in time, then you can come here and you can hang out with us and hang in and gabbing. We work for a small business that sells pre-loved designer and vintage. It's a great time to talk about the message that you probably heard from our sponsor, who's also our employer, and that's Archive. There are just a few of us, 7, Gabe, Philip, KJ, Mac, each. 7. We're a really, really small business. The world of vintage has gotten really big these days. It's huge. And I do feel like there is something to forcing you to be creative with thrifting and buying secondhand. I feel like it makes me, create a vibe for myself that I want based on what I can find. I don't want other people to feel like the only way they can express themselves is by having capital. I think when you are forced to create something for yourself out of items that are found or pre-loved, you are required to work within bounds and means that are so much more finite. It pushes you to a level of creativity. It also makes it easier. Yeah. This is the same mindset of when you go into a shop and there is so much shit there, it is overwhelming. I don't want to have that much access to things. Mm-hmm. I want there to be less options, and then I can create what I want to create out of those options. And I feel like that's similar with thrifting. Okay, you pick however many good things, and then that's what I'm dealing with. Fashion is about play. Do you follow that girl who literally recreates Pinterest outfits with stuff that she's thrifted? No, but I follow someone else who makes outfits on red carpets out of candy wrappers and stuff in her home. I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. I can't remember her name, but I love her. I mean, I forget her name. I wish I could plug her right now. But I think she's Australian. I'll figure it out. I'll put it somewhere. But she will post Kendall Jenner in an outfit, any Pinterest popular outfit. And she's like, I can recreate this right now with stuff that I have in my closet. And she does it and she looks bomb. You can recreate anything that is designer or fast fashion with stuff that you have, 100%. The other idea is when it comes to what you're wearing and how you're dressing and who you want to be, you figure out the language of what you want to say. Because at the end of the day, when we buy an accessory or we put on an outfit, it's a language, right? What do you want to say when you walk into the room? Like, what do you want to say without having to
What do you want
say?
people to think when they see you? And
Yeah, and not even what you want them to think, because people will always think about you, whatever they want to think about you. But what's your unspoken language? I think what is really cool about working in the industry that we work in is that style is created on the fringes of society. Nothing that we ever find quite revolutionary or that we really look up to or that lasts throughout time is ever made by someone who had all the access to everything.
for sure.
Personal style is in everything. I might have a uniform for the tasks that I do every day, down to the fact that I sleep in the same pajamas that I sleep in. And that's a uniform for sleeping. It's a utility. So whether or not I want to be able to say I can separate fashion from my mere existence, like, that's not reality. Like, it's a true part of how you exist.
Yeah, it's deeply personal to each person. And I mean, back to that curated selection, not that every vintage selection is curated. Like, obviously Archive has a curated selection, but anytime you're looking at old things or used things, it is curated in a way because there's only so much available for whatever is there. Like, you are forced to pick what you like out of that selection. And I just think that that's great to, like, make us, you know, not have endless options. I think that's good for us.
I think so too.
I really do.
You know, I feel like this is a really good time to shout out other vintage shops that are doing the same thing as us. Like, thank you for seeing the beauty and the love in things that are secondhand and taking the pride in finding things that are so special that your customers will love. Like,
Sure.
what a beautiful place to be a business that exists in this world right now where we really need to be reusing the stuff that already exists on the planet. My favorite items in my closet that I love to get dressed with are all secondhand. There's hardly a day that I wake up where I'm not putting on mostly an outfit that was, like, worn by someone at some time.
Even if it's from your friend, like, even
Totally.
I mean, I'm not trying to shame anyone who buys something from Zara or H&M, like, whatever. People,
I have my Zara history.
100%, like, you got to do it. But share that stuff. Like, the amount of clothing I have from you and Mac and, like, friends, like, don't get rid of that shit. That is all I'm saying. Don't get rid of that shit. Give it to someone. Save it.
Yeah.
Save it for your siblings, your kids. Give it to your friends' kids, like, whoever. Do not throw that stuff away.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
I think it's important that we talk about, like, who we are and what we do for Archive. Really quick caveat for anyone who's watching. Archive is a small business. There's 7 of us. We sell pre-loved, vintage, secondhand, luxury accessories. Beautiful goodies, designer accessories. And you can shop our stuff at www.archive.shop. You can also shop it on Whatnot, which is a live selling platform.
Well, how old is Archive?
Archive is young.
Is it 2 years old?
Yeah.
About? Yeah. So it's about 2 years old. Gabe and Philip are the owners. I mean, essentially they have been curating vintage items to sell to people for a really long time, but it was on a very small scale on, like, Poshmark, on smaller platforms and things. And as they started getting bigger, they found Whatnot. And that's when they hired me. And I kind of launched into the Whatnot world, which, if you don't know what Whatnot is, it's a live selling platform. It's crazy on there. I mean, it's like literally auctions, like fast paced. You're selling stuff. Things literally start at $1. Like, we'll start Chanel bags at $1 and people bid on it. I do that. I'm the live seller or the host for Whatnot. So that's, like, my main job, I think. That and buying. I've been sourcing stuff for Archive, which is really cool. I like picking out all the goodies and, curating things for the showroom. And it makes me more passionate about selling stuff because I'm like, I literally picked this. I think this bag is sick. Like, I want to sell this. So those are kind of my roles and whatever else needs to be done.
Yeah.
Around the office.
You're a really, really integral part of Archive.
Thanks. Yeah. I feel like I don't know that, but I do know that sometimes.
Like, it could not exist. It could not continue without you. You know,
Likewise.
thank you.
Likewise.
I feel like Archive is such an unusual business. Anytime that I talk to anyone about it, they oftentimes underestimate what the value is of our business and what's actually happening, because we have such a strange method of, you know, the split between sort of where our goods go. So we have Whatnot, which is like the live selling. Anyone can get on there and like bid in real time.
Yeah. Well, not to cut you off, but what you just said is that of a people like maybe underestimating it. I think the fact that we're like mostly online, people, especially our friends and like people in our like close community, don't really see like what's happening because we're not a shop like that people can come into. Like, so much is happening around the country. Most of our sales are not happening in Cincinnati.
Totally.
So it is interesting. But because of you, I feel like we've been building our local group, which I think is a great thing.
We've been able to kind of get our name out there, which is like sort of the whole point of doing this in the first place, to an extent, outside of like wanting to just express ourselves and put ourselves out there.
Yeah.
But it's really funny. Recently we had the Christmas party. We do an annual archive holiday party. You know, it was just fun. Like, the new faces who came in and saw the showroom were like, what? Oh, you know, they were so shocked.
We felt that shocked. Whenever we set up the showroom, like super nice, we're always like, oh my God, we have all this shit. Like, dude, where did this come from?
It's really crazy. We come to work every single day. I'm literally surrounded by like so much money.
I do feel like that is a good topic to bring up at some point, is like I'm like desensitized.
So am I.
To this inventory. So I don't want to sell it short. Like, we talk about buying secondhand and vintage and things like that. And all that to say, we do definitely have items that are like $3,000 plus. And because we are so around it all the time, I am like desensitized to the inventory that we have.
100%.
And it's like when we have an event like that, then I'm like, oh my God, we have insane stuff. Like,
it's crazy. I don't know if I've ever asked you this, but what is your favorite item that's ever come through the shop?
To me, it's easy, and it's the Fendi whip stitch velvet. That bag was absolutely insane. It was like, I don't know the right word. Like, what's the word when something is like a unicorn? It was a unicorn. Like, I have never seen anything like that. I've never seen anything like that since we've had it. Granted, I source constantly. Like, I've been looking for that. Cannot find it again. It was a super rare, massive Fendi peekaboo, whip stitch, embroidered velvet, like my dream bag.
It was beautiful.
It was a unicorn.
I remember that bag.
That isn't even like a bag I would pick because I would wear it. It's just I would pick it. Like, that is my favorite bag because it is so cool.
It is amazing.
Well, you know we love Fendi here.
We love Fendi.
I feel like that's all of our go-to pick.
It's our favorite.
Whenever it comes in, we're like, oh, so fucking cool. I miss that bag. I want to find who bought it. And I want to be like, please send me a photo, like, out in the wild. Let me see it.
For as expensive as that bag was, the resale value of it that, you know, we had, it really sold right away.
I was at Jungle Gyms when it sold. Remember, I was shopping at Jungle Gyms and it sold, and I was like crushed because I wanted to hold it more, but I was so happy. Like, I was like, I cannot believe, like, it was immediate. Like, we posted it and someone immediately was like, this is so cool, I have to have it, and just bought it right then and there.
Just so you guys know, the emotional attachment that happens in this office between the 7 of us, where every time a bag comes in, that is so unbelievable.
I'm crushed.
Yeah.
I'm crushed. Well, in fact, the Loewe red tote, you know what I'm talking about? It was
the anagram.
Yep. It just sold, and I was really thinking about
having it.
Yeah. I say that a lot. If anyone watches this podcast who is a Whatnot listener, you will know how much I say that I feel like you probably don't believe me. But like, there's so many bags that I'm like, I almost bought this. I wish I bought this. And I really mean it. I just don't have either the funds or the energy to like really buy it, but I do mean it. And then when it sells, I'm like, damn.
You can't every time.
No,
If I bought every bag that I loved that came into the shop, not only would I be broke.
No way. No way. Yeah.
But also there would be like less value. I think if I can think of any bag that really stands out to me that I haven't bought, because there have been specifically two that have come through the archive shop that I've bought because I really loved. One of those was the Vivienne Westwood Orange Bowler, which
gem.
I'll put a picture of it right here.
A gem.
But that bag is...
You bought that before we bought it. Saw it like across the room and you were like, I need that.
I want that bag.
I'm getting that.
That's my bag.
That's not going anywhere.
I'm a big Vivienne fan. One of my brands, and I think that's one of the brands that we don't have so much of. But I think it's also really interesting because Vivienne was really known for clothes more than bags. Archive is a bag shop of anything else. We have the highest number of bags versus any other category that we have in store. So Vivienne was really like, Vivienne's a clothing brand.
Yeah.
But that is my love. I mean, that is one of my favorite brands.
I think we can get there.
Well, I do too.
My dream is clothing and jewelry and like, you know, I love bags, but we have been dabbling in clothing, but I would love to get into like, you know, proper runway clothing and all of that stuff.
And I think we will.
We'll get there.
That was one of my picks. And then I love my Fendi Cafe Zebra bag.
Okay, but you have to pick a bag that you didn't cop.
Okay. That's easy. It already comes to mind. Okay. It was a Fendi baguette of the classic style, and it was orange beads. You know the one I'm talking about?
Brown leather?
With the brown leather.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that bag, every time I would come in and I would photograph it, and I don't know if I have said this yet, but I am the social media and marketing person and sort of
gave your spiel.
I know. Sort of. Okay. So
give your spiel.
Anything that we do that pertains to our website and the way our website looks, anything that we do that pertains to the way that our socials look, or sort of what our overall vibe is, I am the person who does that. And
how we look on Whatnot, how we look on all of our platforms.
Yeah.
You're curating.
I am the curator of what our vibe is, which is really easy to do, frankly, because we have fabulous stuff and we have a team full of people who believe in the vision of Archive, you know? So it's really easy. Our catchphrase, our slogan that we say in the office all the time is "The future is vintage." And we really believe in that so strongly. You know, the future of style is vintage. The future of style is secondhand. And so it's really quite easy with all of the beautiful things that we get in the store to make and curate this sort of identity online that represents that.
The content just happens. Like, it does. I feel like we've talked about that. Like, we're not trying to convince people to like our items. Like, our items speak for themselves. We have beautiful stuff. You just post it in a beautiful way. And then, you know, to get our like general vibe out there. But the items speak for themselves. If you like vintage designer stuff, this is definitely the fucking spot for it.
For sure.
100%.
The only thing I think that needs convincing, and this is completely fair, is that we're trustworthy.
For sure. And that's a big thing with like designer.
Yeah, because why wouldn't it be?
Well, the lawsuits, the fake, they have to be trustworthy. But I think being small and having a community from the jump, that does help. And, you know, being on Whatnot and being on platforms that are more trustworthy, like, not that things don't happen, but places like Whatnot, it is like a very safe place to purchase things. And I think we're doing it right. Of course, I'm in it. So I'm biased, but I do think we're doing things right. We're authenticating things. We're selling on safe platforms. Maybe other companies think that they're doing the same, but I do feel like we're in a good spot to be selling luxury stuff.
I think so too. I think something about secondhand and vintage that's really difficult is that you have to work really, really hard to get it.
I want to just go somewhere and they're like, here are 20 beautiful shirts. Pick one.
Yep.
And I'm like, fuck yeah, I like this one. Like, that's my dream. Please make it easy for me.
Make it easy for me.
Make it easy. I don't want to work.
I'm already working so hard to figure out who I am and what it is that I want to say that day. And what's my identity and what do I want to express, that it's really important that I have a closet filled with things that I mostly love.
Your closet is a dream, Kinsley. We'll have to do a closet tour because I can't even imagine waking up in your closet and not knowing what to wear. Like,
wait, you really feel that way?
I have 5 million options. Like, I would open your closet door and just be like, da, da, da. No, any selections would work fine.
A part of my expression as a person is through how I dress. And that doesn't always translate to how I show up here or whatever. I wake up some days and I'm like, this is literally the best I can do.
100%.
I wake up and I'm like, oh, this sweatpants, whatever, this is literally the best I can do. Like, I can only show up this way. And then there are days where I'm like, okay, I'm going to hit it a little harder.
Mac and I swear, are on like the same wavelength telepathically. Like, we will sometimes show up for our Saturday show and be like decked out. And then sometimes we'll show up for our Saturday show and be sweatpants, tennis shoes. And we're just like, wow.
Jeans and a t-shirt.
We're feeling it. And it is what it is. But it's a weird place. It's a weird place. Like, you have to show up 100% all the time. But you can still, people want you to be authentic just like they would want you to be authentic on a space like this.
Mm-hmm.
We're authentic on there too.
When you buy anything secondhand, like, materials just used to be much cheaper, nicer materials.
We talk about this all the time on Whatnot, and I hear so many other like sellers talking about this and people that buy from us, specifically Louis Vuitton. Their pieces between like, I want to say the 90s and like now, that shit peels. Like, their interior literally gets like sticky, dirty, peely. And the old stuff, that does not happen. Like, if we get a piece from Louis Vuitton that's like from the 80s, early 90s, I say in the show, I'm like, this will literally last you forever. Like, the interior is going to be perfect forever. They made this shit different. Like, whatever they're doing now, it's not good quality. It's simply not. Like, it does not feel the same. It doesn't last as long. It's just different. So getting a vintage piece, I truly would personally rather get a vintage piece than a newer one anyways, purely because of quality.
Absolutely.
You could talk about the hardware of Chanel. They used to use 24 karat gold plated hardware. They don't do that anymore. And people don't care. But I would care. I want an old Chanel piece. I want hardware that's not going to tarnish and peel. I mean, they just don't do that anymore. It blows my mind. And they've raised their prices. I mean, a new Chanel bag is what, like $10K plus, depending on what you get. Yep. It's absolutely wild.
I don't think Chanel has their finger on the pulse anymore.
It's such like I don't think old-timey is the right word, but it's such like a old-fashioned brand, in my opinion. Like, it's a legacy brand, which is meaningful, of course, but to me, it's lost right now. Like,
agree.
It is not a brand that I think of for like what I'm into.
I think Chanel is floundering in the face of newer brands like Loewe. Not even saying that Loewe is new, or like even Bottega comes to mind, which like Bottega has been around for quite some time, but it hasn't been until recently that they've hit their stride as far as popularity goes.
They're pushing harder, it feels like.
And they're pushing the envelope as far as what styling means and how far to go. So they're able to compete with more niche brands and smaller designer brands that are sort of creating things that are more imaginative.
Completely agree. I don't see much of people wearing Chanel.
Agree.
Almost none.
That's not to say that Chanel doesn't have its place in the world. It really does. I have to my own surprise, come across so many Chanel pieces throughout my time working at Archive that I'm like, I actually love this. Does Chanel get to a point where it's so egotistical that Chanel really thinks that they don't have to evolve in order to keep up with like the currency of fashion?
For sure. Give me a new bag. I don't want a double flap.
It's boring.
I'm bored. The Louis Vuitton monogram is probably my least favorite of the monograms, and that's all they do. I mean, okay, that's not all they do. I'll get shit for that, but that is most of what they do. I mean, they have Steven Sprouse, they have Murakami, but their current, like their day-to-day, to me, not my favorite. Give them credit where it's due, but I can hate. I can also hate at the same time.
Yeah.
I asked people in the Whatnot show yesterday what brands they didn't like and like what they thought was ugly, because they asked me. They were like, what do you think's ugly? And I was like, well, Chanel Cambon line. We'll show a photo, but we have it back there. It's like the quilted, and then there's like the big CC. It's just fugly to me. And I was like, yeah, that. And people were like, well, that's your opinion. So I was like, okay. They hated Balenciaga, a few of them.
Interesting.
They thought it was ugly. And a bunch of people are pissed because Kanye is going to be the new creative director, or at least involved in some significant way to Balenciaga.
Interesting.
Isn't that wild? And isn't also T?
Yeah. Kanye for Balenciaga and Kim K for Balenciaga makes perfect sense to me. Their relationship to each other, I'm certain, is probably not what we make it to be.
Yeah. Isn't Kim K out
of Balenciaga? Yeah, I think she's Dolce.
Yes.
Because there was the Dolce Skims collab.
They're big right now. A lot of like the people who like review people's outfits and runway stuff and red carpet things, like everyone's obsessed with Dolce runway outfits.
I mean, Dolce is really good.
Killing it.
They have beautiful tailoring. I think that's like a really special part of what Dolce does. I think Dolce is very Kim, and I think Balenciaga is very Kanye.
I think it makes sense. I just think it's interesting. People already hated Balenciaga because of all of the drama.
It was crazy.
That was insane.
That was weird.
That was weird, and also people forgave them so quick.
Well,
and then for them to choose Kanye, who is already a very like controversial public figure. So interesting to me.
We'll have to see what happens with that.
I mean, it's probably going to be sick. I disagreed. I am obsessed with Balenciaga.
I've had a resurgence of the City bag, which I think is really fabulous. I love the City bag. I think it's an amazing silhouette. We're seeing this sort of turn back into early 2000s, right? With
and
also Chloe Paddington.
Oh yeah.
I know it doesn't do well with our Whatnot.
I'm not ready for it yet. I'm simply not.
But like Chloe Paddington,
I know,
on the grand scale is like having a moment.
No, it's an iconic bag.
And I think we're traversing sort of like the Spy bag.
Yeah.
The Spy bag is really like
an OG.
It's an OG. It's an iconic piece to have in your closet, right? Sort of like the Mombasa. Like
that's coming back big.
That's already been back.
Yeah.
That's a fabulous piece that's been loved. So, we'll see what happens. Everything has an overturn. The overturn is much quicker, obviously, because of the internet and the witnessing of micro trends, right? So trends are turning over more quickly than they ever have before. And that's really something interesting to behold. So we might have a resurgence into earlier time periods of fashion more quickly than we ever have before, which is why the creation of new designs is more important than ever. And I think that's why people really flock to independent designers and things that are sort of unusual more than ever. Next episode, what I really want to do is talk about ins and outs, because
absolutely,
as we're having this conversation, I'm thinking about so many things that I've witnessed. I think there is cultural significance behind why we choose to do anything. Like,
cue the great Devil Wears Prada scene where they're like, you think you chose a cerulean sweater when really you chose a blue sweater that was decided for you by many other people. Whatever. You know, that stands to be true throughout time. Yeah. I think the reason that we'll witness any trend, specifically medieval fashion or whatever it is, coquette culture. We just had this era of bows. You know, that's not for nothing. It's a political conversation. It's a cultural conversation. It's all things that we'll get into.
They do turn so quick. Like mob life
So quick.
was in and out in like a blink of an eye. And like that didn't used to be the case. I mean, trends would last at least a few years.
100%.
That was like a season, one season. They're going quick. We got to be on top of it.
Coming from a place that sells secondhand and vintage, the ultimate thing is that there's no cooler thing that you can do than being yourself.
100%. I would wear any of these bags at any given time with the right outfit. I don't give a shit if it's in style. I could pick any bag in here and make a cute outfit.
You can be
from different eras.
You can be whoever
100%
you want to be. The ultimate thing about it is that you develop what feels right to you and that everyone develops what feels right to them. And if in time we live for what it is that we feel rather than the audience perceiving it, then we'll succeed in feeling great about ourselves.
Good for everyone.
And I think that's the whole point of the skirt. And, you know, what it means to identify with the skirt is just to continue existing in a way that's for us and not the audience, because the audience is truly the last consideration of anything that we create in our lifetime.
1,000%. And the audience, like, deep down is just you. Like, I mean, you obviously are the only person that you should be doing things for, but I think other people will receive that better anyways. They want to feel your authentic self. They want to see your authentic self. I think we think other people are like judging us more than they are, but they want us to be our authentic selves. They want to hear us fucking jibber jabber about stupid shit, like see us wear insane outfits. Like, people love that.
I think we feel like we're a lot more important, or we're more of the center of people's minds than we actually are.
Oh my God, no one cares.
I just recently came across a meme by Swoon, who is like this Instagram account that I love to follow. Shout out Swoon. And it was a fountain, right? Where like the bottom level is larger than the rest. And it was talking about how the audience is literally the last consideration and you're at the top. And this is like the source, and it's the most important thing. And like the audience is here at the bottom. It might be the broadest form of what you're outputting towards, but it's also the least important, because whatever it is that we do comes from source. So whether we're getting dressed or we're buying a secondhand bag or we're having a conversation with a friend or we're getting ready to go out for a date or to hang out with our best friends, you know, the audience is our last consideration.
I agree. And people will perceive you better if you are doing things and making choices purely for yourself.
Yeah.
People can tell if you're being authentic or not.
Absolutely.
100%. You'll be happier. They'll be happier. It is all for the best.
Yep. And that is sort of the thesis of the skirt.
We're just here to chat.
I think the first episode, all of the things that we've talked about today, it's hard to find a place to start. I don't think we really know what this is quite going to be.
We also have 5,000 ideas and 5,000 things we want to talk about. And like, they're all launching at the same time. Like, we want to talk about so many things, but we, you know, we'll get in the zone. We'll have, you know, dedicated times to really deep dive into certain topics. But this was like our free-for-all. This was our, we just got to let it out.
If you want to come along for the ride and you want to join the skirt, you can follow us on Instagram. You can subscribe on YouTube. Yeah, If you love beloved designer and you want to shop a fabulous selection, go to www.archive.shop. You can follow us on Instagram there as well. We'll be posting simultaneous updates. And
on the skirt.
join us on Whatnot to hang out with Sam. It's really fun.
Get some steals. You'll get some shit for cheap. I promise you. I promise.
Just hop on YouTube and hang out with us every other Friday.
We're not stopping.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
We're excited. Okay. Thanks for tuning into The Skirt. Bye.
Thank you.